Good evening, good morning, good everything. Hello, everybody. I'm Lemons. Some of you might know me from the Beatbox family Discord or from pretty much anybody that knows Proxy. There's a chance that you know me. Yeah, I hang around every now and then. Today's tutorial is going to be OD bass. I've had about 3 or 4 people be like, I want your OD bass, I want your combo. And the first thing I can say is that you're going to learn the OD bass through this tutorial, and then I'm going to at some point put another one up for click rolls, specifically hollow click rolls, which is what I use to combo into the OD bass, which is something similar to what Proxy does. And he tends to add hollow lip oscillations as well into his patterns, so I'm sure at some point he can maybe give a disclaimer on that or how he does it, depending on if he wants to show people. So today's sound is a and the reason why, first, before I even get into like teaching anybody how to do it, I want to explain and give examples of like reasons why you want to learn it. And maybe you don't. If you're a bass heavy beatboxer and your favorite thing to do is just kind of do codfish, do article, do anything really, or sorry, vocoder, anything you do, like it really depends on what you want to combo it with. But what it really does is it opens up the possibility of learning different sounds, things that maybe you might use in the future that you don't think you'll need right now. So without further ado, some of the ways I combo it would start with into a inward K snare is boogie toogie priggy, just a regular boogie foogie kind of patterns, like just kind of using it as almost like part of my tech. Another way I use it is if I'm trying to do like a more tricky flow. It's not a very smooth sound. It's not something that I would say is easy to add into a beat. It's definitely something you have to play around with. But in general, I think it's something that a lot of people should know how to do, or is something that it really combos into things. It's not something that's standalone. You're not going to find a drop that's just only OD bass. You're going to find it with a lot of different sounds, and they're going to mesh together. And that's the case with a lot of sounds, really. And with that said, of course, one of the biggest combos that everybody loves is and obviously that part is an OD bass. It is an OD bass that's a little augmented. I do it on like the left side of my mouth, but for this tutorial, we're just going to do middle mouth OD bass. So to start with, for middle mouth OD bass, what you want to start with is you want to get this sound, which is it's a hollow sound. If you know anything about hollow sounds, hollowing your throat is, you can watch my Adam's apple drop when I hollow my throat. There's no air. I'm not moving air. It's just all muscle movement in my mouth. OD bass is a very dry sound, I will say that. So if you've got a lot of spit or water like up in your tongue, maybe try to clean it up a bit. Swallow your spit before you try to learn it. One of the big things is placement. And so you've got the roof of your mouth, right? And I'm going to say your teeth are about here. So your front teeth are coming down, and then you've got a little hump behind them. This is going to be your hard palate, and then it goes back into your soft palate, right? Like most people, at least anybody who doesn't have any form of disability or something that like changes their mouth shape, which is completely understandable if you can't do it. But with that said, for the majority of people, there's that hump, and then it goes back into like the cave of your mouth. And so where you want your tongue is you want the tip of your tongue to just sit right up above that ridge, not quite on your teeth, but not quite, far back on the ridge. You want it just above that ridge, and then the rest of your tongue is going to kind of like lay flat, and then your tongue is going to kind of curve down in. So your tongue is going to be flat against the roof of your mouth, just like the front half, and then everything else is going to kind of fall off. And so what you're going to get is almost like saying duh, 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 with like a nice flick of the tongue, like that. Except you take out the vocalization, there's no vocalization, it's hollow throat, and it's just a nice punchy like that. And now that's kind of like the basic. That's like if you were to take one click of the OD bass and just make one of them. So next is, if you know tongue bass, is a like that. Except you want to slow it down. It's like that. Now you've got OD bass, but you've vocalized it, and it's not hollow. So you want to hollow that. So it's and now that I've still got air, there's still a little vocalization there. And if I were to take away all the air, keep it hollow, same positioning as I just said, is it's going to come out as, and it's very interesting to see is I get tighter as I go. So like I start with a more open positioning, and then the longer I hold the OD bass, which is why you don't hear me hold it for like a tongue bass, because there's not air movement, it's all muscle movement. Is you can see how my throat tenses up, and then my Adam's apple slowly drops down, my jaw drops down. Everything's moving while I'm doing it. It's kind of like a chain. So it's not like a where everything's in the same position the whole time. It's a, you can see how I'm really bringing back my jaw and it's tightening everything up. And now this can be complicated because when you're putting in a beat and you're doing sounds on top of it, it can make it harder for you to kind of mesh it together, because with the tightness of your jaw and then you want to switch into stuff, there's only so much stuff you can do. So for instance, doing an inward K is one of the best things you can do right after, is because especially specifically a rim shot inward K, might I add. The reason why that's so much easier is because you can go for the punch with the way that your tongue is already in this position, and then you're going for the rim shot, so it's, so that combo is going to really be influential. And if you get really fast with it, it's like it can be really fast if you want it to be. You can also do it really slow. Like you can do a lot with it. I love this sound. It's one of my favorite sounds. I learned it very early when I was first beatboxing, back in like 2018, 2017. It was a little more popular back before like all this crazy stuff came out. But I do think it is getting more popular again now with faces like Zero coming more up in the beatbox community, and he does a lot of hollow sounds, a lot of clicks, a lot of everything. He mixes millions of sounds together, and he's an insane beatboxer. I love that guy. The big thing is just hollowing out that mouth, hollowing things out, keeping it dry, and practice makes perfect, man. It's not going to sound perfect the first time you do it. You may only be able to get like 3 or 4 clicks, and then your tongue just gives out and you can't hold it, and that's perfectly fine. Like when I first learned it, I think I used to do, so it was more like the side mouth tongue bass, which is the, which I can also go into more detail about in another video, maybe on like a tongue bass tutorial, I'm not sure. Just let me know if you guys want more tutorials, stuff like that. But like I said, it's gonna sound either really slow, or it's gonna be too fast. Maybe it's not as punchy or strong. Maybe it's not as hollow as it needs to be. So with the way it is, it's just one of those sounds that, it's gonna sound like the first time you did a lip roll. It's gonna sound like, it's not gonna be it's not gonna be that when you first do it. And I think just keeping that sort of mentality where it's like, unless I continue to do this, it won't get better. So just make sure you're not dogging yourself down, you're not pushing back anything like that, and really just focus on you, focus on working it into your attack patterns, working it into your sort of arsenal of sounds, and don't give up on it, don't drop it, don't forget it. There's always going to be times where you're going to be up on stage, you're going to be, beatboxing on VRC or beatboxing in Discord, and somebody's going to be like, yo, check this. And like, you're going to be like, oh shit, I used to know how to do that and I don't remember anymore. I do the same thing. I used to love inwards bass, used to do it all the time. I haven't done it hardcore in like 2 years, so I'm not great at inwards bass. I still can do it, I'm just not good at it. And compared to who I was back then, I feel like I would lose in an inward bass battle with me 2 years ago, even though I've gone so much further with my attack patterns and my quality of my sounds. If I were to battle specifically based upon a comeback on inwards bass, I would fail. And so when you're up on stage and you want to make a tour, or if you want to fight back against somebody who's spamming OD bass, it's definitely important to have that sound just back pocket, whip it out, and that's the case with almost every sound that you might think, oh, this is, useless in a beat. Why would I ever need this? You know, like look at like uvula cases and you know, and then you find the one person is the one time you ever have to battle them, and it's like shit. You know, what do I do? Um, it's just really important to keep that in mind. So I'm gonna toss it over to Proxy if he has anything else to add. If not, thank you for watching. There will be more posts on the Beatbox Family YouTube channel, I promise. Proxy's in charge of handling some of that, if not most of that. I'm just a friend, just a beatboxer, just you know. But yeah, DM me on Discord. I'm one of the admins. You can just look at it. It should just say BBX Lemons or Lemons. I'm mainly free. I am in college, so if you try to get me and you get a hold of me at a bad time, I will try my best to find a day where I'm free. I will make plans with you. I will give you private lessons. You know, I love helping people. I love teaching people stuff. You know, I I do enjoy things with beginner beatboxers, but with that said, be very patient with me. If maybe something comes very easy to me, something that I was just naturally like more capable of doing sound wise, and then somebody's sitting there and they're just struggling so hard and I just can't grasp it. You know, that happens sometimes. So please just let me know. DM me any sounds you want, leave comments, give us a like. You know, if you think that this helped you, please let me know. If there's anything you're still confused with, comment, DM me on Discord, whatever you gotta do. And enjoy your day. Happy beatboxing.
Beatbox.